Fires too strong. And STA the board. Clark 1 for 4 in the early go. Fires too strong.
Everything you thought you knew about how a superstar is treated in professional sports, completely wrong. Because what just happened to Caitlin Clark on the court isn't just a coaching decision. It's a strategic demotion that could genuinely destroy the Indiana Fever's entire season and set a dangerous precedent for the league's biggest star. Imagine this. Clark, the generational talent who draws sellout crowds and brings millions of new eyes to the WNBA, misses a shot. Just a single, everyday miss that happens to literally every player, every single night, multiple times a game, no matter how good they are. But before that ball even hit the floor, before she could even get back on defense, head coach Stephanie White was already waving her toward the bench. A move so abrupt and ill-timed it sent an immediate jolt of confusion and frustration through every single fan watching.
Caitlin Clark can be as great as anybody. She can be Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. She can be anybody. As long as she got Hey Arnold over there as a coach, Mr. Crab's daughter over there as a coach, and as long as she got that ball hog on her team that's messing up the whole team chemistry, we gonna keep losing. And we not winning the championship. So as long as that coach is over there, and as long as that ball hog keep doing the same thing she doing, Indiana Fever fans, Caitlin fans, y'all may as well get championships out of y'all heads. It's not happening. Listen, if Stephanie White keeps doing that gimmick she has going on over there, being weird, we are not winning anything. We'll be lucky to make it out of the first round.
/in, /in.
Check out the best player in the league, but it sucks that she got a stupid coach and a ball hogging teammate.
Indiana looking for their first lead. Clark behind
picking them apart. Threes. Picking them apart. It's too easy. It's too easy. Look. Breaking them down. But her coach, Where's Waldo, Here's the cowardly dog. Like, what are we talking about? Hey Arnold sitting over there. Like she's pathetic, man. We need a new coach. Or Caitlin needs to go. This is pathetic. She is putting on MVP caliber play, but she got teammates that wants to hog the ball like they Michael Jeffrey Jordan or somebody. Like, this is nasty. She's setting people up, getting people open, all type of stuff. Busting.
This wasn't a timeout. This wasn't a dead ball situation where coaches quietly make routine rotation calls. This was an immediate live-action substitution. A miss, followed by a hook, followed by Caitlin Clark walking straight to the sideline, while the New York Liberty kept right on playing without so much as a pause in the action. Fever fans watching this game noticed it instantly, and their reaction was swift and furious, because this has stopped being a one-off decision and started looking like an actual, calculated pattern, one that's now happened in back-to-back games against two very different opponents. The outrage quickly spilled onto social media, with one viral tweet perfectly capturing the collective disbelief. The Indiana Fever have somehow managed to turn Caitlin Clark into a role player. Absolutely insane. Who assists in the first half, and it's not because she suddenly forgot how to create. The ball has been taken out of her hands for the second game in a row. Too many possessions have Clark standing off ball or parked in the corner while Indiana tries to manufacture offense elsewhere. Why? I'm not going to pretend I know the reasoning, but I know this. This team is not better with Caitlin Clark watching the offense instead of running it. You have one of the most dangerous playmakers in basketball. Put the ball in her hands, this shouldn't be complicated. And honestly, it's not.
Stephanie White is a bozo bonehead, man. Get Caitlin Clark the hell away from this clown-ass organization. We got to get into this game, man. Y'all know Caitlin Clark played small forward for the entire first half of the game, all the way until about 4 minutes left in the third quarter when the Indiana Fever were down by 9. The girl was playing small forward. Aaliyah Boston brought the ball up the whole first 3.5 quarters. This is ridiculous. This is malpractice. Stephanie White should be fired.
/in, /in.
Don't do things that you're going, that's not a real good idea right now. Right? Because if you start to harness greatness, then they start to second guess what you want them to do.
And this is the difference from a real, actual great coach And then Stephanie White. Stephanie White has this thing. This is why I say she got all of the characteristics of a narcissist. Because Stephanie White wants to control, micromanage every single thing. And it was a clip going around when Caitlyn played Toronto, I believe. It was that game. And she crossed the girl up real bad. The girl went way, she started guarding her own teammate somewhere. And everybody was like, why didn't Caitlyn take the three? And she was wide open. It goes back to that second guessing that Cheryl just talked about. Because every time Caitlyn does something, who do you see in her ear on the sideline? Who do you see chasing her down trying to say something? Who do you see always on the sideline emoting, doing some type of weird stuff? Stephanie White. And I keep telling y'all, Stephanie White had
2 assists. Think about that for a second. 2 assists in an entire first half for Caitlin Clark. This isn't just a cold shooting night skewing the stats sheet in a misleading way, hiding her impact. This is a player who averages over 8 assists per game this season, who is widely considered one of the best pure playmakers anywhere in basketball right now. We're talking about someone so dangerous with the ball in her hands that opposing defenses build entire scouting reports around specifically trying to slow her down, to deny her the ball, to prevent her from initiating the offense. But for 2 straight games, in 2 different cities, against 2 completely different opponents, the ball simply has not been in her hands the way it needs to be for this offense to function the way it was designed to function, the way it asterisk should function with her at its helm. It's an offensive philosophy that makes absolutely no sense when you have a player of her unique, game-changing talent on your roster.
Of course, Caitlin Clark, like I said, overall, I thought she played pretty well, especially considering the circumstances. This was nifty. Right over the big on the inside. Not to mention, she had a nice step back 3 at one point in the game early. She got her shot going as the game went along. She didn't shoot the ball well to start it and then wound up shooting the ball much better. But this was a nice, nifty step back. Cash. Kelsey also went over 20 points again. That's routine at this point. Here doing it with a boogie move.
Backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in.
Like, look at this. Look, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. Look, Caitlyn wide open, clank, pathetic. Well, let's watch it again one more time. Look, Caitlyn's wide open, nobody's on her. Look, this is pathetic. Yes, a rant is coming. Who does we have as a coach? Where is our coach? Because apparently she missing. This is pathetic. This is probably the worst job I've ever seen a coach do. And then, let's just listen. When the fans booed her, why did y'all stop? She literally deserved that. Y'all literally should start booing again. Why are you hating on Caitlin Clark? How you hating on the best player on the team and anybody else can do something, you fine with it. Caitlin do something, you all over throwing a hissy fit like a toddler. Like, grow up.
And get this, if you actually watch where Clark is positioned when Indiana runs its half-court sets, it tells an even more damning story. She is not at the top of the key initiating. She is not bringing the ball up the floor and reading the defense, dissecting it with her unparalleled court vision, the way that made her a nightmare matchup for every single team on this schedule. Instead, she is parked in the corner. She is standing off ball, arms loose, watching somebody else try to create something out of nothing, while the single most dangerous playmaker on this roster just waits around for a catch-and-shoot look that may or may not ever come her way. This isn't a subtle system adjustment. This isn't a minor tactical tweak. This is a genuinely talented player getting effectively benched inside her own offense, even while she is still technically standing on the floor in uniform. It's a criminal misuse of talent that literally nobody watching can understand.
I mean, it's consistency, right, for us. I thought there were some moments that were making them uncomfortable. Not enough. When we were up into the ball freshman, I thought we got some really good games on the defensive end. And then there were lapses that caused fouls, and there were lapses that allowed offensive rebounds, lapses that allowed, soft switches into cuts. On the offensive end, we didn't need the ball, we didn't need the right play, and find the right pass. You think if you shoot 51%, 42% from 3 and then make your free throws, but more than anything, I think this is just an opportunity for us to every single possession. You can play out basketball right now. Just play out basketball. And there has to be an urgency every single possession.
Backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in.
This is ridiculous. Caitlin Clark forced the jack up shots in the first 5 seconds of the shot clock because she knows, God forbid, if she passes the ball to anybody, it's impossible for her to get the ball back at any point in a given possession. It's ridiculous. Bro, Stephanie White played Aaliyah Boston at point guard for 3.5 quarters. I'm ready to lose my mind, bro. We got the best point guard in the league. Why is our center playing point guard? Meanwhile, Jonquel Jones was punishing her ass the whole first half. This is crazy, man. This is crazy, bro. Like, Kelsey Mitchell kept her streak going. That's all that matters around here, right? Kelsey Mitchell gets her streak. Yeah, that's all that matters. Indiana Fever lose again. Coaching blunder. This was ridiculous, man. Caitlin Clark.
But here, where it gets absolutely wild and the pattern becomes undeniable. None of this actually started against the Liberty. 2 nights earlier, the Fever were in Dallas taking on the Wings, and Clark had one of the rougher shooting nights of her entire season, going 4 for 15 from the field. A cold, frustrating stretch by any measure, sure. But even in that game, she still managed to rack up assists, still found teammates when she got the opportunity, still demonstrated her elite playmaking. Yet her overall role in the offense had already started shrinking well before that final buzzer sounded. The signs were there, faint at first, but growing clearer with each passing possession, indicating a shift in offensive philosophy that prioritized something other than unleashing the player who had fundamentally changed the way the Fever played.
Feels like Caitlin Clark is getting taken out of these games a little bit earlier than usual when we were going through those streaks. Shoot, I saw her play some entire first quarters when we were going through those multiple game win streaks. I don't know the last time I saw Caitlin Clark play an entire first quarter. I don't know what it is. Is Aaliyah Boston hanging out too much at the three-point line? I'm not sure what it is. Caitlin Clark's shot's not quite falling, and if it is falling, then suddenly we stop going, we take her out, and it just seems weird. Because for the most part, Lexi Hull, we can't blame Lexi Hull because she hasn't really been contributing most of the season, right? So it's got to be somewhere between the big three or the coaching. I don't think teams are playing us that differently. Although the New York Liberty do give us more pressure than previous opponents, I think it's an internal issue, something with the team and the coaching staff, more than it is the opponents making us do things we don't want to do.
Backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in.
All know Stephanie White potentially moved Caitlin Clark to a role player, making her second and third option, catering to Kelsey Mitchell to make sure she keep her 20-plus point streak going. Now, in the midst of her doing that, man, it is completely sabotaging the team. Kelsey Mitchell was the only person benefiting from this, and it's really kind of hard to gauge. Like, is they doing this so Kelsey Mitchell could land another max deal possibly somewhere else just if Caitlin Clark don't leave because they feel like they owe her that? Because to me, I don't think they owe Kelsey Mitchell anything. I thought this was about winning a championship, but clearly this has went from the Caitlin Clark show to the Kelsey Mitchell how many points can you score tonight show. I am completely convinced. No doubt about it. Stephanie White and Amber Cox is spearheading this smear campaign for Caitlin Clark and Sophie.
Indiana ultimately lost that game to Dallas, 91-85. And in that same game, Kelsey Mitchell had to completely take over, dropping an incredible 37 points and setting a brand new league record for consecutive 20-point performances in a single season. Now, 37 points from Kelsey Mitchell is a genuinely incredible individual performance on its own, and absolutely nobody watching this is trying to take anything away from her. She has been sensational for stretches of this entire season, and she absolutely deserves credit for elevating her game when her team needed her most. But there's something nobody's talking about. There is a real, meaningful difference between Mitchell getting hot organically inside a normal, flowing team offense, and Mitchell getting the ball 40 times a night, specifically because the point guard who's supposed to be running the entire show has been quietly nudged out of her natural role.
Clark at small forward. I mean, this is a joke, man. This is a joke. Caitlin Clark is rushing shots, missing open shots because she knows she has to hurry up and get them up. She knows I'm coming out of the game between the 4 minute, the 2.5 minute mark. I'm coming out. So I got to be aggressive early. She knows I cannot pass up any shot. I have to probe and look for my shot early in possessions, because once I pass it to Aaliyah or Kelsey or anybody, I'm never getting it back. This is a shitty situation, man. Pardon my language. I didn't want Caitlin Clark the hell off this team. I want Caitlin Clark the hell away from this front office. I want her the hell away from this goofball clown of a coach.
Backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in.
I'm absolutely sick of it. We go full first half, ISOing all day, no teamwork, slow basketball, the ball not moving around. I mean, it's ridiculous work what we're doing out here. Then we get to the closing side of the game. AB going up with a contested shot. I mean, I don't know what she was throwing up at the end. Caitlin Clark throwing up a contested shot. I don't know what she had going on with this ISO stuff. Why are we ISOing when we just saw evidence that if we run the pick and roll, we can get a good look. We can get a good look, right? The entire first half was nasty work. ISO this, ISO that. I mean, my eyes felt like somebody dropped lemon drops in them, dog. It was hurting me watching that game. It was hurting me, fam. Oh my goodness. Then we get to the second half, we get to the third quarter, right? Late in the third, we start to figure out, oh, if we run the pick and roll, we can not only get Caitlin a mid-range shot, not only get somebody a lay at the rim, we can also not take the shot and find an Aaliyah Boston in the corner. We can find a Sophie in the corner if we just take our time and focus and move the ball around, not panic.
When Caitlin Clark isn't initiating possessions the way she's built to, the offense doesn't just lose a score-first option. It loses its fundamental rhythm, its pace, its ability to create advantages before the defense even finishes setting up in the half court. It forces other players into roles they weren't designed for, making the entire operation clunky and predictable. That is exactly what has happened over these last two games, and it shows up in the box score every single time the final buzzer sounds. The team's overall efficiency plummets, their scoring opportunities dry up, and the dynamic, free-flowing offense that makes them so dangerous completely disappears, replaced by a stagnant, isolated approach that plays right into the hands of their opponents. Backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in. But wait, it gets worse. This also isn't the first time Stephanie White has made a questionable in-game decision involving Clark's role on this team. Cast your mind back to May against the Portland Fire. White pulled Clark early in the first quarter of a game that was still very much winnable at that point. Indiana went on to lose that game by a whopping 16 points, a result that looked a whole lot worse once you consider the timing of that substitution and the subsequent collapse of the Fever's offense. White explained afterward that it was about managing Clark's workload given her ongoing back concerns, and taken completely on its own. That is a fair explanation for a coach to give. Nobody wants to watch a young superstar get pushed through actual pain, chasing a single regular season win in the middle of May. But when you start stacking these decisions up one after another across an entire season, a pattern begins forming that gets a lot harder to explain away using injury caution alone, especially during stretches where Clark looks completely healthy and engaged on the floor. Backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in. After the latest loss to the Liberty, White faced reporters and talked, like she often does in these situations, about rotations, about spacing the offense out properly, about making sure the ball moves and everybody on the roster gets their fair share of touches. All reasonable-sounding things to say out loud in a post-game press conference. But reasonable-sounding words in a press room don't change what fans actually watched happen live on the floor in real time. You can talk about ball movement and equal touches all you want in front of a microphone, but it still doesn't explain 2 assists in an entire half from the best pure passer on this roster. And it definitely doesn't explain her standing quietly in the corner while somebody else tries to manufacture offense completely from scratch. Here's what makes this whole situation so incredibly frustrating for Fever fans watching at home night after night. Caitlin Clark is not just a good player who happens to score a lot of points. She is the single player this entire roster has been built around from the ground up. She is the one every opposing coaching staff game plans for before every single game on the schedule. She is the one who draws double teams the moment she crosses half court, who forces help defenders to leave shooters open on the perimeter, who creates the exact spacing that makes everybody else's job dramatically easier just by having the ball in her hands. When you take the ball away from her for 2 straight games, you are not simplifying the offense or making it more balanced. You are actively removing this team's single biggest structural advantage over literally every opponent left on this schedule. Backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in. Now listen to this part. Go back just a couple of weeks and look at what this exact same roster looked like when Clark was actually allowed to run things her way. Against this very same New York Liberty team back on August 11th, Clark finished with 22 points and 10 assists, her 10th double-double of the entire season. And Indiana absolutely blew New York out 106-92 on their own home floor. That result was not an accident, and it was not garbage time padding. That was Clark controlling the tempo of the entire game, finding shooters in rhythm possession after possession, and putting real, sustained pressure on the defense because the ball was in her hands, and the offense was actually built around her instincts as a player. Now compare that game directly to the last two, where the ball has been steadily moving away from her, where she's being parked off to the side for long stretches, and where the results have been 2 straight losses in a row. The contrast could not be more obvious if somebody drew it up on a whiteboard specifically to prove a point. It's a blueprint for winning that's being deliberately ignored. Backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in, backslash in. And to be clear, this isn't just fans reading tea leaves off one viral tweet either. Reporting throughout this entire season has repeatedly pointed to a real, philosophical tension between Clark's natural instincts as a player and White's preferred style as a head coach. There have been multiple mentions across multiple outlets of White wanting a more structured, deliberate, half-court, share-the-ball approach, rather than fully turning the keys of the offense over to Clark's breakneck pace and her natural creativity in transition. Even respected voices around the league, people like Swin Cash, have weighed in publicly on national television about how much the ball should or shouldn't be sitting in Clark's hands during fever possessions. That is a real, legitimate basketball conversation, and reasonable, informed people can genuinely disagree about offensive philosophy in the abstract. But the results over these last 2 specific games are not a matter of opinion anymore.